A beast. Oh, that's not fair. Alright, I guess we'll keep it there. Alright, before I get started, I guess I'll get started. Okay. Before I get started, okay, I'm sorry. I really know that no one missed me, but did everyone miss Miss Jackie? Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, that was pathetic.
Yeah, I feel
who
like
missed me? Who missed Miss Jackie? Alright, that's all good. It's all good, y'all. You know what? It's a good job. That's all good. Thank you. Before we get started, I wanted to say first and foremost, where's Brother Chase at? Right there.
Jay!
Yeah! Brother Chase, man, he stepped in and did a great job, and we thank him for that. Who enjoyed his messages? He's a sick dude, man. He's a sick dude. And, I really appreciate it, and I know you guys do too, so we appreciate Brother Chase and Miss Tiffany and what they do here, as well as all of our other leaders. So that's really cool that we have those people. Not too many youth groups are blessed like that, and I know you guys aren't aware of that, but it's true. Like, not a lot of youth groups have what we have for our leadership team. So I wanted to show you guys a little bit of a piece of what we did while we were gone. We were going, I don't know if you guys know, we were on a cruise to Cozumel and Kalika. And I never knew what Kalika even was, where it was, or anything like that. But come to find out, it's like 2 seconds away from Cozumel. It's like right there. And apparently, we went on a cruise, and it was a 5-day cruise. So 6-day cruise. One day we went to Cozumel. Okay, so we're there, and then we get back on the ship, and the ship goes around like in the circle, apparently, the entire night until the next morning we go, hey, we're in Kalika, get off and go, do whatever you gotta do. And like, you can look across the water and there's Cozumel, you're like, this is the stupidest thing ever. What is that? We can just walk to Cozumel. Anyways, besides the fact that it's an island, it's like right there, okay? So we wanted to show you a piece of that. I hope you enjoy it. It's not really a great video, but yeah, we just kind of wanted you to see that. And go ahead, play it, please.
Aruba, Jamaica, ooh, I wanna take it. Bermuda, Bahama, come on, Key Largo, Montego, baby, ride me up. Jamaica, Acapulco.
Especially, what are you doing? Just leave it open, it's okay. Oh, Lee, no, Lee. Lee.
Yoka.
Lee.
Yoka.
Here we go again, sorry.
Aruba, Jamaica, ooh, I wanna take it. Bermuda, Bahama, come on, Key Largo, Montego, baby, ride me up. Jamaica, Acapulco. There's a place called Kokomo. That's where you wanna go. Take it away from it all. Bodies in the sand. Tropical dream, nothing in the we'll be falling in love.
Baby. Ryan.
Down and go. Jamaica, ooh, I wanna take it to Bermuda, Bahama, come on, pretty mama.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Alright, I'm going to tell you a story of that. It's pretty funny, actually. Alright, so, over there in Cozumel, and it goes into my story, so if it's perfect. In Cozumel and Kalika, they do what you call bartering. And if you're not familiar with what bartering is, basically, you can Jew them down really, really low in money. Yes, I did. Okay, you can cut them really, really low. Apologize. You can cut them really, really low by wheeling and dealing with them on their stuff. Okay, and what's really cool about it is like you can start off at $75 for a stinking lion mask and get them down to like $10. And that's what I did. We got them down like super low, and the reason why I made that video was so I can go, oh, how much is that? 75? Okay, thanks. See that? So I can say, dude, I got them down to $10. I did. Let's see. It was the mask. It was she got a hat, like a cowboy hat, and then we got 2 salsa bowls for $30. That's sick. All right. Who can do that? All right. And the other story is, hold on, real quick. The other story is the guys that were like sitting there like, while we're eating and like playing the guitar and stuff. I'm gonna tell you exactly what happened. So we're sitting there eating, we're on the island, you know, gazing into Miss Jackie's eyes, like, this is great, I love you, you know, and I love you, I love you. And then these 3 old guys come up and they're like, honeymoon? Yeah. Like the entire time, and I'm like, you're cool, this is authentic music. I'm like, yes, this is great, you know, and we're on the water, you know, and we're eating authentic Mexican food, like, yeah, got my wife paid, and then we're sitting there, we're enjoying it. They stop, done, music's done, and they're just sitting there.
With their big gold teeth.
Yeah, they have like a gold tooth here and a silver tooth, and they're 3 old guys, and they're like, you want us to play another song? And I'm like, no, we're good. Appreciate it. That was good. Okay. We play for tips. I'm like, what? I didn't ask you to play. Man, you know, I like looked at the people next to us, at the table next to us, like, don't let them play for you. They're going to ask for money. If they play for you, say no. Stop playing right now. I don't want you to play. So yeah, I ended up having to give them some of my money out of our food, out of the tip for the waiter. So the waiter got just his tip because I had to pay for this thinking, no, the singing guys. I'm like, dang, I feel bad, but it's all good. It's all great. So, and that brings us to our sermon tonight. The message I want to bring to you guys is being unashamed of the gospel and being unashamed of who you are. Now, you've probably seen my beautiful signs that Miss Jackie had made for me.
You're ashamed?
What? Is that what it says? Okay. Yeah, well, it's supposed to say unashamed. I don't know what it says.
It says
but,
not ashamed.
Okay. But basically, it's to say that we are not supposed to be ashamed of the gospel of Jesus Christ because it has what we call, we'll see, we'll get to it. I'm getting so excited about this. Alright, so I'm going to start by saying this, okay? Paul went in Romans and he mentioned something to us that's very, very powerful. And I want to go into that with you real quick before we get started. It's Romans 1:16. It goes something like this. If you have your Bibles, Romans 1:16. It goes a little something like this. I am not ashamed of the gospel because it is the power of God for the salvation of everyone who believes. First for the Jew, then for the Gentile. I'll read it one more time. I am not ashamed of the gospel because it is the power of God for the salvation of everyone who believes. First for the Jew, then for the Gentile. Now, with that being said, can I tell you that he was on his way to Rome. This guy had gone through everything. Okay? He had gone through imprisonment. He was chased out of the country, smuggled out of the country, ignored in Athens, laughed at in Corinth. He was stoned and left for dead. And Lystra, this guy had gone through so much stuff. But he was on the way to Rome, which was known for a lot. Let me go into that. Rome was known for the heart of the empire. It was a city of philosophers, it had poets, it had tons of idols, bless you. It was a seat of worshiping an emperor. They worshipped an emperor there. It was the center of an intellectual arrogance. So there's a lot of intellectual arrogance there. People who thought that they were smarter than everyone else, man, they were really arrogant about it. They said, my guy's better than your guy kind of deal. And then they took it the next step further by saying, it was a city built on war, and it was the greatest city at the time in the world. That is the city of Rome. Now, Paul, going through the things that he went through, and was headed to this city to preach the gospel. Why? You would think, why? Why would he do something like that? I mean, if this guy has been beaten, he's had to flee a country, he's smuggled out, he's been through as much as he's been through, he's been in prison, for sharing the gospel. Keep in mind, he's going to Rome, which is going to be the worst place to go. That's like hopping from a pool of piranhas into a pool of great white sharks and going, okay, this is going to be fun, okay? All right? And he's just going to swim along and, oh, this is great. Because he knows what he stands beside. And he makes the statement, for I am not ashamed of the gospel of Jesus Christ. Very powerful statement. But he stood behind it, going into this pack of wolves, because he knew that that was very true. That is everything that he was. For him to go through what he went through and still make his way through the city of Rome, you gotta have some guts, man. You're gonna have to be some powerful dude. I mean, unless you're Superman, I mean, you better have something on your side. You can't just go in there unarmed and think that you're going to make it alive preaching the gospel and all of those things. You have philosophers and you have people who worship the emperor and things like that. People took those things seriously, and you would lose your life for just mentioning anything else than, their gods, the Greek gods, their emperor, their type of worship, their form of worship. It was a cultural thing. But he went against the grain because he knew that the power that he had was phenomenal. Now, the power that I speak of, Greek word is dunamis. Everybody say, look at me and say dunamis. Dunamis, which sounds weird. It sounds like you might be cussing out the other person in another language, but it's Greek for dynamic, okay? And it means power. It's a Greek word for power. And it's very important that we understand that we have power in Jesus Christ, and we have power in the gospel that Jesus Christ has for us and has instilled in us as Christians. Now, this is what's really cool. There are three answers of how this power really works, how it works, okay? If we're going to talk about power, and we're going to talk about what authority we have, and what kind of power is lied in this, and why we can be unashamed of the gospel, and why Paul was so brave to go into the city, we have to find out why he believed in such a strong power. Number one, he says that we have the power, there is the power to save. That there is the power to save. How is that? And let's go back to it. Because we have to address why this is such a powerful thing. Why you can be unashamed. I am not ashamed of the gospel because, I quote, because it is the power of God for the salvation of everyone. Number one, the power to save. If it says in the word that it's the power to save, salvation is given, salvation has to be something that, salvation is what we have to understand. Be saved, but you have to come from a place to be saved. Does that make sense? You can't get saved if you're in a good place. But no one is in a good place. All right, Paul goes to talk about that everyone has sinned. So therefore, we are all in a place where we have have to be saved. All right, everybody with me on that? So we are in need of salvation. Now, if we have the power, or God has the power of salvation, that God's Word has the power of salvation, and it goes on to say, I am unashamed of the gospel, because it is the power. The gospel is the power of God for the salvation of everyone, which is number 2. Number 2 draws out how power works as that power to save those who believe. It has the power to save those who believe. Now, I can tell you this. If you believe, you will be saved. Plain and simple, right? We can go home now and everything will be good to go. And if you don't believe, of course, you can't be saved. But the problem that we have is that we don't believe in the power that it has. The power to save. But also the power to save not just one person or 2 people or 100,000 or 144,000. It's to save everyone. Okay? Now, if we understand that this power is real, and we understand that what Paul is saying to us, that we actually have the power in this gospel, and if we only share it with somebody, it has the power to save everyone, well, we're good to go. But there's more to it. If we don't present it in the way that it shows how powerful it really is, then what do we have? If we don't address its power, then what do we have? Right? Okay, now number 3, this is where it gets very interesting. Number 3 says, it is the power to save without distinction of people. How is that? It says this. It is the power, because it is the power of God for the salvation of everyone who believes. First for the Jew, then for the Gentile. So, it lacks distinction for a particular individual, because it addresses first the Jew, then the Gentile, which is what we consider everyone else. So if there is no distinction, then you can go ahead and mark off the fact that I'm half Korean and you guys are not, you know what I'm saying? And you can go, well, I don't know if you're going to go, Brian, because, I think God's racist. I'm just saying. Or I don't know if you'll go because you got $10 and I have $100. Or I don't know if you'll go because, you're single, I'm married. You know, and that's not how God looks at it. It's social status, it's money. No. He says anybody and everybody is welcome. So any of us, no matter where we're at in life, regardless of our social status, regardless of who we are as people, you and I, we're completely different people. But regardless of that, God looks at it all the same. And the power of salvation is offered to everybody. That's power. Now that is power. If it has the power to save everybody, that's pretty powerful. Now, I want to read you the story found on the internet. I thought it was pretty cool. This is called the African cheesecake virus. Anybody heard of that? All right. Well, we're gonna talk about it. It does seem racist, doesn't it? All right. It says this. Let us suppose that you aren't feeling well, so you decide to go to the doctor for a checkup. He says, let's run a few tests and see what we can find. When the results come back, the doctor says, I'm sorry, but I've got some very bad news. You've contracted a very rare disease, the African cheesecake virus. You evidently got a hold of a bad batch of cheesecake. It's got to be bad cheesecake. Unfortunately, the disease is fatal. There is one cure. Now, this medicine has just been developed, but you have to take it immediately to have any chance of surviving. You agree, you take the medicine from the doctor, then you go home, put the bottle on the shelf, and probably forget about it. It's a fatal disease. You're going to die if you don't immediately take it, but you put it on the shelf. What will happen to you? Before you answer, consider this. You're sick, you're dying, and you know it. The medicine will cure you. All you have to do is take it. You've got the medicine in your own cabinet. The healing power is only a few inches from your lips. What will happen if you don't take the medicine? You will surely die. The medicine by itself does you no good. It's not even good enough to personally own the medicine. It's not good enough to think to yourself, I'll take that medicine someday or take it tomorrow. You've got to personally take the medicine right now. If you don't, we'll be having your funeral in just a few days. Now that is not a real disease, but it's not a real virus. But if it happened to you, I'd probably be sad. Okay, so don't eat bad cheesecake. That was the moral of that story. Begin good night. Okay, I'm just kidding. No, but no, seriously. On a serious note, man. In the same sense, we have to make sure that we're looking at our lives in the same sense. We have to make sure that we're looking at salvation in the same sense. That if we know that the Bible says that Paul is telling us that salvation is through the gospel of Jesus Christ. That the Bible and what it entails is our salvation. It's going to cure us. It is the cure. And we walk away from it. Then we are doing exactly what that story says on putting that medicine on the shelf and just watching it. And just forgetting about it and going, you know what? I know this saves me, but I'll get it tomorrow. Peace. Alright? And that's how a lot of people look at salvation. Even though we might hear it tonight, you have heard it for yourself. You guys are evidence now. You are physical walking evidence that the Bible says that the gospel is the power of salvation. It's one step away. It's right there at your fingertips. And people will walk away from that knowledge. Now, how powerful is salvation? How powerful is the gospel? You know, and if you guys have any questions, man, you guys want to chat, I'd love to chat with you. You know, I have gone on and on about God to numerous people. And we've gotten debates. I remember there was this one girl who's a diehard evolutionist. Matter of fact, her country in Czechia, I guess they're separate now, Czechoslovakia. Czechia, she is a diehard evolutionist, and that is their religion in their country. And I remember us getting into debate after debate after debate on whether my God's real or not, or whether what she believes is real. And I can tell you this, by the end of me working where I was working to meet her and be able to talk to her about the gospel, she was at the very edge of becoming a Christian. Now, I never really walked through the salvation message with her, but you know, we can go on and on. I can tell you thing after thing. You know, we can go into how, if you want to go into evolution, then how does God place things that disproves evolution completely? How can you say that the platypus and the lineage of the platypus leads to what evolution proves as being a lineage theory? Or how can you go into saying that the Big Bang created all of us, and that theory is the only thing that you have to go by, and that is your meat. But yet, if you blow up a firecracker outside, it goes out, not in. We can go over molecules, we can go over the human body, we can go over everything. We can go over, I've been over this before, we can go into the other religions and what they believe in, and how they take the next step further and say, well, mine has the pillars, mine have this, mine have that. Well, you can point to that person's grave too. You can point to that person's grave, but my Jesus is alive. And we can go into the Smithsonian Institution and how it has the Bible as one of its artifact pieces because it has yet to be proven wrong. It is the #1 bestseller of all time. If you want to keep going, I can keep going. Jesus has been proven in many artifacts, in many things. If you want to keep going, we can keep going. But that's the power that I'm talking about. And then we go personal. We got to go from the facts and we have to bring it home, do we not? That's who I am. That's who I am. I want to know facts. Absolutely. I want to know the cold hard evidence of why you believe what you believe. Absolutely. But I want to draw it home. How did it affect you? How did it affect you? In every way you can imagine. You got to bring it home. The power of the gospel is truly amazing if you grab a hold of it and bring it home, draw it home. You want evidence? You got it. Go and search for yourself. You'll find all the evidence you want. But if you want to bring it home, I can go even further and even deeper and showing you evidence that my God is real. Open up this right here. Open up my heart and find out that I am not ashamed of the gospel. I am a Christian. That's who I am, and that's who I'll be for the rest of my life. And I'm unashamed of being a Christian. People wear the t-shirts and say that's good enough. Jesus never did that. I'd probably guarantee that if he lived in today's timing and somebody offered him, hey, if you want to, I'll make you I am a Messiah t-shirt. If you want that, man, I'll hook you up and put a cool design on it. Then that. People will already know, regardless of this, people will already know who I am because of how I walk, of how I present myself to people outside. We have some new people in here. I would love to go around and ask those new people, how did the people that have been coming on a daily basis, and have you seen Jesus in them? Because, my friend, the gospel, if it is as powerful as we know it as, then we need to understand that we have to be a mirror of Jesus Christ. You know what I love about the moon? The moon is a reflection of the sun. It's not really this big bright ball of gas that everyone thinks it is. It's nothing more than a reflection of the sun. And I can go on and on about how we should be the moon and reflect God. But so many times we choose not to be that. We choose to be something completely different, completely opposite from that. You know, give me a random star, I'll take one of those things. I don't want to be the humongous ball of light that shines every night and be the moon that shines from the sun, from my God. Instead, give me a star, I'm cool. I'm cool with that. Hey, you know what, I just need something small. Good, I'm good. We always settle for second best. We have power in Jesus Christ. Extraordinary power. The last thing I have on here is that the gospel is powerful because it reveals righteousness by faith. It reveals a certain righteousness by faith, by our faith. That if we truly believe, if we truly have that faith, and we want to say, I truly believe that the gospel is the power of salvation for all people, then we have nothing to be ashamed of. That we can wear one of these on our backs, but not really. We have different colors though. You want one? Okay. All right, hook you up. But my thing is that you shouldn't have to wear a sign or a t-shirt. You should not have to go around with a megaphone and say,